Today we have a bit of topic neuropizza, so it's not more about neuroimaging, but some new tools that and discussing more about how can we use them in a more distributed way for doing neuroimaging. Yep. So the agenda is more or less that a bit of rant from myself of current hypes. And then review what are autonomous agents, and then now that after GPT, how these autonomous agents are coming back to be in fashion. And then, as I was telling you more, what we can do in our field with this. I like these two memes I found online, like because after these things with the ChatGPT, I cannot use Twitter anymore because I'm bombarded by, look, these 7 new tools, how to do faster your AI. It's like everyone that before was doing it, I don't know, during COVID was an epidemiologist, then war expert, and now is AI expert. But apart the hype, there are some useful things. And then I like this one because, I don't know, I go, for example, in Reddit and I see people talking that now AI is conscious. So what is conscious? People, after 2,000 years from Descartes to Damasio, now people just wake up and discover this conscious. And I found some interesting, like, because if you have a switch connected to thermostat, so thermostat is aware of the environment, then the switch is conscious. I literally read this kind of, but today it's better, even if I mention something like that, I don't think I'm an expert in consciousness, so it's better if we skip these things. So I'm actually putting as a warning, to don't go in that direction. But then there was this recent paper, I assume you heard about it, that actually I found this was quite smart. So essentially, they connected some framework related to fMRI analysis, connected to some language model, in a way so that they could generate from the both signal an entire speech, and what was essentially was the inner dialogue in the mind of the person, given some sensory input like a video. And actually, it seems it was generating quite relatively sensitive stuff. So in fact, this was published on Nature Neuroscience. And then at the beginning, I was laughing at this model. And you probably have seen some variation where instead of the heart, there was a burrito. So that autonomous, automotor, I don't know, something like that, from Lacan. So that is trying to expand this language model to autonomous machine intelligence. And actually, I will kind of agree. I don't know you. So you can reach some kind of autonomous agent using something like that. Now, the original definition of autonomous agent from '96 is a computer system capable of autonomous action in some environment in order to meet its design objective of goals. And this was the diagram in Zachary et al. And they were saying like that there is an environment, agent, some programming inside, and some actions. And to me, I don't know, it was looking like a simple definition of a robot, because it's something in the environment moving and doing some reactions. Although this can also be some kind of software running in the background in your computer. Now, after this ChatGPT and generative AI explosion, there was a paper. It was actually very nice that were like taking back this definition, but instead inside they explicitly considered some generative AI something. So, and why is this? Because of the powerfulness of language models. So that this, the key that they were using is that we can finally have something in the environment that is more useful because of the language. And when they say a high level, and they say high level because it's not just something like this language prediction like ChatGPT, in a sense high level in the sense that they put goals. So this system is supposed to follow some goals and just use things like ChatGPT as a tool. So it's more general, more thought to be impactful. And also in this paper, there was something really funny. So essentially, they created some agents, each of them like with access to something like a language model, ChatGPT, and they had the goal. Like one was instructed to organize a party, so was talking to another agent. Oh, I want to organize the party, and the other agent was another language model telling, to organize a party, like you do on ChatGPT, to organize a party, you should do. So essentially, they were interacting each other, like an entire city full of ChatGPT people. It seems like a funny thing, but actually I found it really cool. Like that, substantially they have an entire artificial environment and things that don't exist that they talk each other. Then, of course, there were two frameworks that are more, I would say, more useful than this. I mean, not the previous work, but it was more a theoretical work. These are more useful practically, and they are BabyAGI and AutoGPT, where substantially they use something they call Langchain, which language chain. So that these things that I was telling you that they are not just static like ChatGPT. You ask a question, then you need to ask another question. So they are more. The user is providing an objective, a goal, and then they start like from probably from some language model, and then they get the first input, and then from there they move around to external memory. Like, for example, Wikipedia or a database of movies or something, and then they reorganize the tasks they're supposed to do and then give you some answer. I have a short video. So it's like thinking fast and slow. Like first they go quickly on ChatGPT, for example, and they get some answer, and then they see what's supposed to be done, and then they come back to other database, then they come back until they finish a goal. And this is also the other key, so that they are prioritized about a goal, not just giving you one reply to your question. And the things that I was telling you at the beginning, like that they interact with an environment, is also a very cool thing. So it's not just within a web application. So you have to imagine these things is in your computer, and you ask him like, I don't know, design me a perfect logo for my company. So they first go to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is telling, like, let's say, like, to design a logo, you have to do this, this, and this. So they go back on the web and they look for the input, how to design a logo, and then they go looking for images, and then they maybe show you directly the final logo and so on. So they can also interact with other softwares, and so it's more general. I hope I can launch this.
This model replaces us in front of computer.
Demonstration of AutoGPT. Today we'll be showcasing the AI's learning ability by asking it to research information about itself. Let's begin.
So now it's on Google.
Google to find relevant websites to what it's researching.
And he found a bunch of websites, so then it's screening all these websites.
Found the Github repository for AutoGPT. It's opened it for analysis.
He found the GitHub, and now he's running the GitHub. And now I studied the GitHub first.
After scanning the website's contents, it has summarized them and will now place them in the AutoGPT.txt file we have opened. As we can see, AutoGPT can teach itself about different topics using the internet, allowing it to have a better understanding of the current world than ChatGPT.
And the guideline of this, they were to a bit more advanced than just a language model. There was, so they should have metacognition, the ability to discuss and think about thinking. But there I already got lost because language models are not thinking. They're just statistically one word, and what's the word statistically is afterwards. So where is the thinking? I don't know.
So this is the thing.
Eh?
The statistics is the thing. That is exactly what we are doing.
Okay, depending your definition of thinking. So if that, again, in that case, is thinking.
I mean, when you're constructing a sentence yourself, you're also, trying to find the right word based on your previous learning, which is
Okay, then it's correct. So in this context, then the metacognition, so they should reach deeper level at the point they can discuss about themselves. Then they have this access to external sources, social media, movies, picture, and they have automation. So after they're done this, they can run programs, and they can teach themselves new things, and then they have a communication. Maybe I go after about these two that I found. So the deployment automation was actually, as we said, they will replace us. Yes, there is a startup that got funded to have something like that running on your computer. And that is, let's say, opening Word, doing something, then closing it, then doing something, like managing your computers, essentially. And they actually got a serious level of investment, so 350 million to have this transformer-based assistant on your computer. And the self-learning thing was actually, there is another guy who is introducing another framework called self-learning agent for performing API. So the idea is that now that one problem with ChatGPT was that that's why I stopped using it after 2 days, was that I was asking to write a code and then it was giving me the code immediately, and the code was full of bugs. And it was taking me 2 days to fix the bugs. So how these things work is that they, let's say, do the same. They do an initial code. Then they run it on, let's say, a Colab. They see that there is an error. So they go back trying to fix the error until the goal is reached. So until if the goal was to have something perfectly working, they will iterate several times until they fix it. And the new thing is that they are not limited to what's in the memory of the language model. They can learn a new API, update the new version of the API. So figure out the errors, essentially.
They train themselves.
Yes, because they are goal-oriented. So until the error, it means they have to learn something.
How do you define the goal?
By a language.
So you just hope that the goal is well understood, okay?
Yeah, hopefully. And then the other thing that also it's probably going back to Parquet, so they interact each other. So you don't need to have only one. So in theory, you could have a company on your laptop, like that. For example, one agent is the graphic designer, another agent is the business expert, and I don't know, one you tell me, design me this new campaign, and so one agent is going looking something and then going to talk to the business, to the agent of graphic design, and then they talk each other and they improve what they're doing. So communication is also seen in this kind of frameworks. Now, apart the, I don't know, fear you might have or dystopian things that these things will take your job or to run your computer, I was thinking, what can we do with this? And because in our case, generally what we do is that we have some neuroimaging and we do some analysis and we reach some conclusion. And then there is this idea of federated learning, so that one center is learning something and not sharing the data, and then train the model, and then the models are put together in one way. So maybe what I was thinking is that in this will be the evolution of this federated learning approach, so that we have different hospitals, for example, doing the analysis, and then they interact even at higher level than federated learning. Maybe that, I don't know, someone is finding something and, this is my model and I found this feature, and then installing the other one. What do you think of this feature? And so on. At the moment, it's more just a guess or an idea. But I was thinking that maybe we can think and explore something more in this direction. I don't have anything. This was just more that I thought was cool to share the story of the agent based on a language model. And yeah, summarizing that this language chain, so sometimes it's called Langchain, but it's the language chain framework, this story of interacting with language and external software, I think is quite powerful also because it's run in external environment, doesn't have to be in the ChatGPT website, so it will go on your computer with Python, AutoGPT, and it's doing something, and is accessing your machine also. And yeah, I also think in the future there will be more and more of this automation. No, actually, it's not even automation, it's more being autonomous, because automation is something autonomous, you can leave it and it will learn and do something and expand. And also I found it cool that in theory they can communicate each other. More like federated learning, but through languages and higher level communication. Or another thing, without going as a federated, I was thinking maybe, you start here, you give them a task. Like, look, I have schizophrenia and non-schizophrenia. The goal is to find something to distinguish. So it's going to literature and see, in literature people have been doing ICA in bold signal, so he's trying this. I don't know, he's trying this, it doesn't work, so then they go back and they try something else. And
So it comes up with a novel hypothesis.
novel or?
No, you basically have like a full factory of Chinese workers doing one thing after the other until something like that.
Novel or at least automated.
Okay.
Like I need to classify schizophrenia and schizophrenia, and then it's going this to classify you use to blah 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 ICA bold signal. Then it's trying, it's prioritizing. To classify, I have to do this step. Then it's trying. Yeah. Then it doesn't work. Then it's going on Google Scholar and this. Then it doesn't work. Then it's going again. Because the idea also, these things is never stopping until it's reached the goal.
Then actually you have a list of, let's say, biomarkers.
Yeah.
And then you decide which one is like useful or which one is not statistical noise or other.
Instead of you thinking, maybe I should try this first, this first, this.
So one underlying thing that you just told us, so we are now living in a world where GPT is connected to the internet, right? Is that?
Sorry, is?
We are now living in a world where ChatGPT is connected to the internet, because what you described is a process where
yeah, the problem is out of his website. I don't know. He can decide to write a code to send some nuclear bombs and ship it.
Is it regulated by some agents?
I think people are
Working on that, yeah.
raising the problem that now this thing is free. Free like in your computer. Yeah, because this is like your machine.
So you have to install it.
Yeah. It's not in their website. It's on your machine. You obviously need to connect to OpenAI key, and it's probably cost you.
Okay.
Because it's using, it's not free. Because you're using their own language model. Actually, a good application I found so far is this tool, which is several agents trying to build different independent parts for some kind of protein design. So I hope in the future we will see more of this kind of stuff. Thank you. Bye-bye.